implement your standards and then go through for the best practices. This is the main subject. Thank you very much again. This is Mustafa Komut. I am here on the behalf of CFA, and thank you very much for your participation and time you're sharing with us. I hope this presentation will be useful for you in your industry, and we will try to get in touch with you if you have any questions. By the end of the session, you are going to get a link from us about the presentation, and then you will get certificate. Hopefully that you will enjoy. Let me go through our presentation. This is navigating the regulation maze. This is like a labyrinth. So integrating 27001 SOC2 is a strategic advantage or is a kind of mess. We will try to explain to you. My name is Mustafa Kot. I am here in this industry for more than 20 years. I'm a computer engineer. I worked in the several industry, and then meantime we provide you some kind of training sessions and also for audit or for certification process. We will need to go to security and compliance teams for phase that they are dealing with 27001 SOC2 and GDPR, DORA, and NIST. So what is this? Is a result, the duplication or inefficiency, or is it an audit advantage? So we will try to get in touch with these topics. They are spending a lot of times to same evidence in slightly different formats for different auditors. We need to focus on for compliance spiral. This is fragmented control libraries, which is our maintained per framework. There is a redundant evidence that we keep get from all the best practices, and then control owners stretched, and it's rising costs without any proportional risk reduction. Are we doing right things or something that we need to do much more? We don't know. You need to understand the frameworks, first of all, before to integration and precising that two things are how these are common or something that they are not common. 27001 is an information security management standard which based on the for risk-based approach. It defines and it maintains and it improves and it controls your management system. Defines how the organization manages the security risks or systematically. It's a certification driven, issued by accredited third parties such as CFA. Internationally recognized standard signals maturity and has got Annex A provides structural control references such as 93 controls which are different than previous one. It used to be around 114. Now it's number of the controls are decreased and provides much more maturity. Meanwhile, SOC2 is a trust services criteria. It provides same as security, availability, and confidentiality, which is coming from the information security standard, plus processing integrity and privacy. Assurance framework is produced an auditor attestation report. There are two types. Type 1, point-in-time design assessment. Type 2, operating effectiveness over a defined period. It's usually well known in United States. They ask for companies whether they have SOC2 compliant or not. And it's critical for SEC, for especially vendors, software as a service vendors. You need to keep on in your mind, ISO provides the management system, SOC2 provides assurance framework. There are big differences here. These are different tools, but deeply complementary when integrated correctly. Key differences and also some of the overlaps. Let's go. Philosophy. 27001 is focused on risk management. SOC2 focused on control effectiveness. Output of the ISO 27001 is a certification. It's a SOC2 provides a report. Scope is an organization-wide, and SOC2 very strict service boundary defined. Flexibility for 27001 is quite high, and SOC2 based on criteria. Audience is a global market, and SOC2 target of the customers is US and B2B business customers. Where they converge, access control, instant management, vendor risk, logging and monitoring, and also you may come across for the continuity topics for related with business continuity. Why integration matters? Because we are spending a lot of time, both. If we want to have the together and then getting the one controls, it will cost of the audit the reduction. Typical savings achieved when control evidence is unified across the frameworks, and there are 3 times audit duplication, which is the average number of times the same controls tested separate audits. So 60% faster go to market. Same things keep again and again. Speed improvement for SaaS vendors pursuing dual certification and attestation. Same control audited in 3 different ways by 3 different auditors on the 3 different timelines. God, what is this? Are we going to kill ourselves or not? Common points from enterprise security teams because they don't like it. They are right. Integration isn't just an efficiency play. It enables a single control framework. Satisfies both objectives and freeing your team, which they are dealing with operational way, focused on genuine risk reduction rather than audit administration purposes. You need to go for deep dive for some of the things that if you want to imply both, one is ISO, another one SOC, you need to go for control mapping strategy. Foundation of integration is deliberate. You need to go for annex controls and also SOC trust services criteria domain. The goal is prove that one well-designed control satisfies multiple compliance objectives. You see, these are coming from the annex control from the ISO, access control, operations security, instant management, supplier relationships, and business continuity. These are common, the way of doing in the different way. But control term is both is the same. Logical and physical access management for access control, and operations security deals with systems monitoring and anomaly detection. Instant management is based on the instant response and escalation. Supplier relationships is a third-party risk management and business continuity, availability, and resilience planning. Core principle, if I have one control, it covers for both, I am okay. So I am on the right direction. I don't need to do double work for both cases. How we are going to do? Well, there are a lot of ways of doing. Integration deliberate architecture requires from your side, not simply merging 2 spreadsheets to put one things in the what ISO asks me and what SOC asks me. No, 5-step model provides very structured path from the fragmented compliance. What you need to do first, define a common control universe. In the ISO controls based on the annex controls, which is our 93, and second one is risk-based alignment, is related with ISO controls and also covers for SOC2 criteria. Third one is more control ownership, provides you RACI matrix. Who, what, how, responsible, accountable, consultant, and informed. Fourth one is evidence standardization. Fifth one is continuous monitoring. These are 5 step basic. So what you need to do, start from the beginning and define common controls and go risk. Third one is control ownership. And fourth one is evidence. Fifth one is continuous monitoring. There is a taxonomy starting from the collection. Digital media, non-fiction, books, journals, audiobooks, journals, and databases, ebooks, and these are coming from the library. So list for all ISO annex controls and every SOC2 criteria in a spreadsheet. Identify overlaps. Map controls that address the same domain, such as access management, encryption, instant response. And then normalize the language. Write control statements in plain frameworks, agnostic language. And take them and label it related with ISO reference. SOC to references, control owner, risk category, and evidence type required. And validate with your auditors. You may contact with your consultants, confirm mappings with both your ISO certification body and SOC auditor before finalizing. Control universe, which is our case status, is coming from annex control, and SOC has got a 64 criteria across 5 trusted service categories. There is a typical overlap around 60 or 70% controls address the shared domains. Result is around 110 or 120 unified controls. For example, 157 managed separately. It may take you, based on your organization, around 2 or 4 weeks, maybe 1 month, based on your dedicated team effort. In our cases in Turkey, we have done around 1 month. It took 1 month by using the same approach, but it was a very difficult time to digest to 2 different people. One is deals with the ISO, another one deals with SOC team. Is a good way of doing. First, get your senior management buy-in, and then make them meeting, then convince them what you are going to do, because they are going to do a lot of things. Maybe they need to do. They need to work together. ISO team are quite get used to do, but SOC team, SOC2 team is not get used to do it, but the way of doing is to manage them together. It may take you, another approach is provide them as a kind of scenario. We have done in our telecommunication industry to provide them, for example, for business value, for SOC, how they are going to get these data. And then ask the same approach to our ISO team, how they are going to manage this. So then after that, they have bring me the result and then make them a one single identity. Start with the highest overlap domains such as access control, cryptography, instant management, supply relationship. These are mostly common domains in your organization, which is covers for around 40% of both frameworks. So I give you the example. Access control and instant management, very well known. So these are two guys are quite common to work together. Step two is a risk-based alignment, which is not all controls are equal. So you need to give them a priority risk based on your organization. The alignment process, it requires you conduct a unified risk assessment process, covering both ISO and SOC risk domains, and then score your risks. You know how to score risks, likelihoods, multiply by impact matrix, and then map high risk areas and identify low risk areas and then review and update alignment. It's very good. You can use it for risk assessment methodology. I'm sure your organization already have, and then review them together. Who is going to do this? And the risk level is critical. ISO 27001 will say you it's a mandatory, and then you will need to deal with annex controls and documented exceptions. You may deal with their SOA, Statement of Applicability. In the SOC2, they are going to look at CC6, CC7, and CC9 domains with continuous monitoring and then get them their result. This is the critical ones. And the high one is the full control, implementation, and annual testing required. SOC is type 2, it requires evidence. Medium ones is requires standard controls and also periodic review. SOC2 requires you in management review. Finally, the low ones is a simplified controls with a sub-accession SOC2 scope with minimal evidence. There is a common mistake applying the same control with a rigorous for the all risks equally. This wastes your resources and on low risk areas while under investing in critical ones. In this result, if you are following this way, I mean, you will be really surprised that most people will hate you and then they will just drop their cases. So don't do this in this way. So these are the risk criteria you need to take in your account. Step two for control ownership. Who, what, accountability, responsibility, consultant, informed. These are very important subjects. At the beginning, I'm sure nobody will not be take this accountability, but use senior management who is going to be the accountable for both sides. ISO team already accountable, needly CISO. Difficulties for SOC type 2 because this is difficulties who is going to be. This one mostly coming from the business area because they are mostly concerned for the service accountability and this service continuity. You can choose these guys. In this case, I was in the as a business resilience and data privacy manager in Vodafone time. SOC type, I was in charge of that. So consultant is a subject matter expert who provide input. It's usually legal reviews. Informed, there's a stakeholders who need visibility but no action. So important one is accountable party, consultant, and responsible party. So use this ratio in place, assign them and release them as a documented paper in your whole organization. And then announce it. We are going to combine two things in one hand. This is integrated framework approach. And evidence-based. Core evidence types, mostly you are already know that. Policies, procedures, access review logs, and risk register, and instant records and change management records. These are core evidence record types. Design principles: use single evidence template per control type. No framework-specific versions. For access review, include metadata, control ID, ISO reference, SOC2 reference, review update, and approver. Store all evidence in a centralized repository. You can use it GRC tools such as Archer, I can give you, or SharePoint with version control. And then set automated reminders for evidence or in order to refresh cycles. Could be either monthly, quarterly, or annual. Conduct and keep your evidences for periodic evidence and review 60 days before any scheduled audit. Is a well-designed access review template can satisfy both sites, 12 ISO controls and also 8 SOC controls criteria simultaneously. This is the power of standardization. Step 5 is a continuous monitoring. You need to have, unfortunately, for GRC platform, there should be, because otherwise you couldn't handle. It's very difficult to keep on track on the Excel spreadsheets. Use GRC platform. There should be the central hub connecting all controls, evidence on owners, audit schedules. It could be anything. And automated evidence collection. You need to design API integrations as a pull evidence for cloud providers, and continuous control testing, and real-time dashboards, and alert and remediation workflows. It could be, we can give you some of the names. This is not any commercial based. There could be GRC platforms such as Vanta, Dradata, Tugboat Logic, or ServiceNow GRC. This is all well known. Automation tools: Terraform, Amazon Config, Azure Policy, Okta, you can use it, and evidence repositories, Confluence, Jira, SharePoint, and any GRC platform available. Using GRC platforms report around 60% reduction in audit preparation and near zero evidence gaps during the audit time. What is so good, but what we are going to take ourselves that anything that not to happen. Common pitfalls to avoid is treating SOC to is ISO copy and paste. Means that take one organization and ask them what they have done, and then ask your colleague, please, could you share your data with me? And then I can use it. Don't do this, because it's quite different the way of how to doing. So frameworks share domains but differ fundamentally in philosophy. So transposing controls without adopting to, especially for SOC, effectiveness requirements will fail under audit scrutiny. This is very difficult. Over documentation. More policies don't equal better security. Please don't do this. You will, your staff will be stuck, and then they will hate you. Excessive documentation creates maintenance burden and makes harder to manage this. As also auditors will be interested in. They are interested in much more plain, smooth, easy to maintain documentation. Lack of control ownership. Controls without named owners is also very bad. Without any racing model is very difficult. Who knows who is going to deal with? We don't know. Also, senior management cannot enforce people. So you have to assign people who are in charge. Audit focused versus business focused approach. Compliance programs mostly adapted for passing audits, unfortunately. We see it all industry. You need to take the advantage that this is to make together in one hand is I am getting much more better business opportunity. Take it in that way. We are not challenging for passing the audit. It's a we are trying to create a business value for your organization. Uh, Adopt this approach to your senior management and then provide awareness in your company. Create a false sense of security and fail to deliver lasting value. Compliance without operational integration is theater, expensive, time-consuming, and ultimately unconvincing. You can never convince people. Strategic value beyond compliance, there is a competitive advantage because in global enterprise clients increasingly require both 27001 certification and SOC. Two, dual compliance accelerates for your site procurement and shortens for sales cycles. Board level visibility. There's a unified framework, produces coherent, consolidated reporting, enabling the board to understand risk posture without navigating multiple disconnected compliance outputs. Customer trust and sales enablement. Security posture becomes a sales asset. Pre-qualified trust reduces the volume of customer security questionnaires and due diligence friction. Since you have got two things in your hand and prove that as accreditation by certification and the report, and then your customer will be quite happy that this company does very well. Resilience integration. Integrated compliance naturally connects to the cyber resilience, business continuity, and ERM. Created joint up security ecosystems rather than isolated flows. So these are very good common share. The business resilience on the top of your company and integrated with cyber business continuity and enterprise risk management. Well, there is a case study I will just give you as an example, integration in action. The mid-sized SaaS company serving financial services clients was maintaining two separate 27001 SOC2 programs, two control libraries, two evidences, workflows, and two audit calendars. The results of the integration were transmitted. Before integration, there are more than 180 controls and two separate libraries. Evidences collected twice for overlapping domains. It used to take 4 to 6 weeks of annual audit preparation per framework. Control owners fielding duplicate requests from two auditors and compliance team operating at capacity with no bandwidth for proactive risk work. After integration, there are 35% reduction in total audit efforts. Control library consolidated from 180 to 110 unified controls. Audit preparation reduced to 2 to 3 weeks combined. Single evidence repository satisfying both frameworks. Faster enterprise sales. It's a dual certification addressing one security pack. Integrated program also strengthened the company for cyber resilience posture, uncovering 3 control gaps that had been masked by the duplication of the previous approach. So now it's released, become reality. Tools for enabling integration, we have already mentioned to you, GRC platforms. These are Vanda, Dratata, Talkbot, Logics. It can be useful. Automated and evidence collection, you need to develop your API integration with cloud providers. As a policy and control libraries, there is a digital repositories. You need to use it. It covers for version control, policies, procedures, control documentation, which provides you the consistency and easy access. Audit management and reporting tools facilitate streamlined audit workflows, enable real-time compliance dashboards, and generate comprehensive reports that satisfy both requirements in a single source. You need to, of course, as we always say that, how I am good at, answer is you need to measure this. You can define your metrics and KPIs for integration success. You need to define control coverage rate, evidence collection efficiency, audit preparation time, control failure rate, compliance cost reduction. You can take it as a KPI for metrics. These are not only the operational efficiencies, it's also gained, also improved for robust your overall security and compliance posture. Stakeholder communication, reporting to the board. Of course, after that, as a successful manager, you need to translate your values to the business. Translate to the business risk. Which control, technical controls and compliance status in the terms of business impact, operational resilience, and align with the board priorities. Provide board level reporting. Develop concise visual dashboards. Demonstrate return of investment. Quantify for benefits of integration through the metrics that we have just shown you, savings, accelerated sales cycles, reduced audit burdens, and showcasing for tangible value. Escalation protocols implement clear process for escalating critical finds and non-conformities to the board. Your framework can be also help for your cases, future-proofing for your framework. NIS2 directive, which is common in USA and also now is a directive for EU, expanding scope for critical entities. DORA, Digital Operational Resilience Acts, now it's been here for more than nearly 2 years, provides you also enforcement. You can also use for AI governance and ISO 42001, NIST CSF 2.0, and emergency privacy regulations such as CCPA and also agile privacy by design. These are integrated approach allows you to map existing controls to the new requirements with minimal efforts. Implementation roadmap. First, since you don't know what to do, assessment and gap. Do the gap assessment, but these are things that required from your side. Phase 2, control mapping. It may take you 3 to 4 months. Phase 2, around implementation evidence standardization, around 5 to 8 months. And phase 4, audit readiness and continuous improvement, around 9 to 12 months. I should say that 1.5 years you will be ready, not more than. But another point is criticality. I wanted to mention vendor and third-party risk management. Integrated approach is critical for robust security for the also vendor risk classification tiering. Categorize vendors by criticality and risk profile, provide due diligence and questionnaire, and make addendums for their contracts, and then flow down requirements, and ongoing vendor monitoring and reassessment. Automation in AI compliance, which is AI-powered tools, are fundamentally reshaping the landscape of compliance transition to the 27001 SOC2 programs. AI-powered continuous control monitoring. This is also important. anomaly detection and threat intelligence. You can also use automated audit trail generation. These are very successful. And predictive compliance risk scoring, you can also use for AI in compliance. Building a compliance culture, having completed these all tasks, you need to develop for compliance culture in your organization. Proven by 27001 SOC extends beyond the technical controls, provides security awareness trainings, embedding security champions across your teams. Tone from the top, leadership accountability. Use your leadership accountability and then integrate in your daily business. Measuring your culture, engagement, and behavior metrics. Assess how people are reacting. Expect them your daily habit. Conclusion and takeaways by the end of this session. Integration is no longer optional. Move from silos to unified architecture. Control once, comply many times. Compliance silos, separate frameworks, duplicate efforts, which is burdensome. Unified architectures, there's a single framework, continuous monitoring. Having got all this, the mapped controls, shared library, normalized and evidences. Organizations that make this shift don't just reduce the compliance, they build also much more maturity level of security programs. Generally, they reduce the risk, accelerate revenue, earn lasting stakeholder trust. There are some questions that you need to ask yourself after the session. Maybe, how do you do this? How mature your organization? What are the big gaps in your organization for both sides, 27001 SOC2? How you are going to do this? Next steps. Control overlapping analysis and identify 5 domains where your teams are producing and duplicate evidence today. Resources can be used for 27001 and Annex Control, SOC2, TSU documentation, NIST crosswork, and GRC platform evaluation guide. You can also ask us as a CFA for gap assessments, and we would like to assess your organization. You can follow our social media accounts from the CFA certification for all social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. We are welcome to visit our site. And thank you very much for your participation on the behalf of CFA. We are happy to discuss your questions. Thank you so much. We are going to share your link and then we will send your certification. If you have questions, you are welcome.